That is Kim Il-sung hugging with open arms Deng Xiaoping. It really does warm the heart when you see how far these two countries have gone together. What is going on, comrades? This is Bay Area 415, and before we get into some DPRK videos, I just have a few updates. First off, I really have to show these statistics on how fast we are actually growing here and how amazing the support has been over the past few weeks. And I have nothing but thanks for you all, comrades. You guys have made this such a great experience for me starting this channel and everything. And these videos really do take a lot of work and research from me and the team, but you all make it all worth it. And I really do appreciate every single kind comment and engagement I get from you all, comrades. So thank you. Special shout out to Daniel Drumble, who said that we are his favorite underrated YouTube channel while speaking to a reporter from CGTN, Jingjing Li. And he's been an awesome person to engage with for all these ideas related to China and everything. So if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe to him for some great content. Link to his channel is down in the description. However, despite our rapid growth, I did notice several funky changes happening to our subscriber count, along with several comments saying that people have been unsubscribed. Also, there's still an overwhelming majority that watch these videos and haven't subscribed yet. So if you can take a second to just click that subscribe button and that bell, we would all appreciate it here, comrades. With all that said now, today we're gonna watch some Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or DPRK media. As we all know, the DPRK is a socialist country, surprise, and after years of intense fighting with the South and Western powers, Korea split into two, the capitalist South and the socialist North. What's important to know is that the peace treaty signed between these two countries is just a truce, and they are being constantly threatened and harassed with invasions and nuclear annihilation. In fact, there's this great documentary called The Propaganda Game, where several citizens attest that if it wasn't for the DPRK's nuclear capabilities, the West may have already invaded the country, and several point to Libya and Iraq as examples for countries that don't have nuclear capabilities.
Imperialists are still, they didn't throw away their policy, but sanctioning, stifling ours.
항시적인 핵전쟁의 불구름이 떠돌고 있습니다. 대답은 간단합니다. 제국주의자들이 힘으로 압살하려고 하는 조건에서 그 맞받아 물리칠 수 있는 힘을 키우는 길밖에 없습니다.
We are forced. You can understand it when they are organizing a sort of big campaign, military campaign, and execute military rehearsals every year in front of our nose.
So do you think if you did not have the nuclear weapon, you would have been invaded?
Most probably, yes.
We have to remember how devastating this war was for the Korean people up in the north, especially when we look at these stats over here. And don't even get me started on the genocidal massacres the South Korean government did during these times as well. Whether you support the DPRK or Juche philosophy or not, there are several important elements to understand about their culture and society, especially for Westerners who have been bombarded with absurd mainstream narratives, from unicorns living in North Korea, from believing Kim Jong-un is dead every single 2 weeks. By the way, I'm gonna make another recommendation and highly recommend everybody watch this video titled "We Went to North Korea to Get a Haircut" by Boy Boy. Not only dispelling the myth that North Koreans can only get 13 state-approved haircuts, but also completely debunking Radio Free Asia's narratives, which are funded by the State Department, and comes out with outrageous news stories like these almost every single month. And I'm really happy that there's a video calling them out on this. With all that said now, let's jump into these videos. Our first video comes from Hong DPRK Daily, an absolutely amazing channel with great DPRK media clips. I highly recommend subscribing to them as well. This video actually is a documentary from loyal citizens of Pyongyang, which describes the horrible pressures the South Korean government puts on North Korean defectors to push the Orwellian narrative about the DPRK. They threaten their family, their livelihoods, to the point where they must dance for this phony narrative or risk hostilities from the South Korean government, like being labeled a spy or even death. I kid you not, a North Korean defector and her son died in their apartment due to starvation, something that is constantly alleged in North Korea, but then inflicted onto these people. The South Korean government has extremely oppressive laws and expectations for these defectors, as we'll soon see here, that push them to the brink and should be considered a crime against humanity. Anyways, this video we'll react to is called DPRK Defector in South Korea. South Koreans are batshit crazy. They don't know the truth about the DPRK. Gotta love that title. Just to give a little background on this man in particular, he left the DPRK to work in China, while some misinformed him about going to South Korea with promises of making better money. But now he's stuck in South Korea. He was marked by the South Korean National Intelligence Service, not only because he's a defector, but also because he said the following statements here.
그때는 뭐 그때 상황에서는 북이 뭐 당장 내일 모레 망한다 어찐다 뭐 이런 상황들이 막 되고 뭐 그냥 생각으로 내가 솔직하게 이야기할게. 난 집단적으로 미쳤다고 생각했어요 그때 이 사람들. 왜냐하면 북에 대해서 너무도 모르니까. 이제다가 구를 좀 올렸지. 그렇지 않다는 걸로 너희들이 잘못 생각하고 있다. 그리고 김일성 장군은 어떤 사람인지 내가 그래서 북의 말이 너희들이 믿기 싫으면 그거 믿지 마라. 그러면 중국이나 아니면 일본 놈들조차도 김일성 장군에 대해서는 올바로 썼다. 그놈들 간홍 기록이라는 게 있어요. 김일성 장군에 대해서 쓴 게. 근데 이거 맞아 와보니까 가짜 김일성이 뭐요. 일본 놈들 자체도 북의 김일성을, 김일성 장군에 대해서 그대로 그렇게 다 썼거든. 대단한, 와서 느낀 점을 내가 이야기했지. 북에서 가르쳐 준 게 다 사실이었다고. 거짓말이 아니었다고.
남한에서
내가 느낀 게 그건 거예요. 북에서는 절대로 거짓말 안 한다. 왜냐? 생각해보자. 거짓말로 지나온 역사를 이렇게 쭉 돌이켜봐도 어느 세계 역사를 우리 놓고 봐도 인민들한테 거짓말한 나라는 오래 못 갔어. 망해요. 인민들을 상대로 거짓말하면.
Wow. What powerful statements. I realized that what the North taught me about the South was true all along. Nations that have to lie to their people do not last. When you have historical facts and truths that are just right in front of your face, and they are completely manipulated or even ignored by an entire population, there is some serious problems going on in that society and in that culture. Again, the Propaganda Game documentary does an excellent job in showing that maybe it's not the DPRK who are brainwashed, but rather Westerners who are inundated with massive, outrageous stories to the point where knowledgeable people that come from this country, we are talking so much ignorant BS about. This man living in the South is going to call us batshit crazy. Also, it is just absolutely amazing the kind of pride that this man still has for Kim Il-sung. It's very critical to note how Kim Il-sung is an extremely important figure in shaping the DPRK to what it is today. From developing the Juche philosophy, which is a derivation of Marxism-Leninism that empowers individuals and people to fight for a revolution in an independent manner. Mega simplifying things, however, the philosophy is much deeper than that. To fiercely fight against Japanese colonialism and imperialism from the West. He was a revolutionary that passionately fought for his people, finding the Workers' Party of Korea that initiated so many land and economic reforms that helped the people in so many ways. Let's continue.
그 나라 인권은 세계에서 최고요. 아니 미국 같은 나라 보라고. 아까도 우리 이야기했잖아. 미국 집 앞 경찰 옆에서 사람 무서워서 경찰 옆을 다가가서 옆구리에다 먼저 손을 총 뽑아낼 판인데. 아니 자기 나라 인민이 미국 같은 거 자기 나라 사람이 설악에서 서지나 딱 총 발사해. 호수문에 손에 딱 총 있는 거에서 총 발사해서 죽여. 아니 어린 학생이 자기는 말을 듣지 않았다고 그것도 여학생인데 경찰이 어제 돼지 같은 경찰들이 서너 명이 달려서 두드려 패고 손을 뒤로 묶어가지고 그게 뭐 말라빠진 인권. 그리고 다른 나라 사람들은
붙잡아다가 문제라고 serious? Oh wow! Please be still, my red beating communist heart. Wow! Oh, calling American cops pigs. Oh, something for you anarchists here. Jeez. Love everything about what this guy says, man. What human rights does American attempt to uphold when we have cops that beat up everybody to a bloody pulp for reaching into their pockets or just looking suspicious? Also, the gigantic bigoted elements that are within our racist police forces in each municipality? Ooh, this guy is on point. I gotta calm myself down after that.
거기는 독재라고 말하잖아요. 프롤레타리아 독재라고, 인민 독재라고. 아, 당연한 게 바뀌잖아요. 헌법이 그렇게, 그 사람들 법이 그렇게 됐다고 프롤레타리아 독재 국가예요. 프롤레타리아라는 게, 우리 말하면 무산자들이 독재라는 소리예요. 인민들이, 뭐 지금 무슨 발전된 인민 독재라고 해도 되지. 인민들이 한 독재, 자본가나 소수 이런, 부의 독점자들이 거기면서 배견할 수 없다고 말이지. 야, 그런 당이에요. 원래 조선노동당이.
Thank you. Enough said. He said it so proudly too. It's a dictatorship? Of course it's a dictatorship. It's a dictatorship of the proletariat, the people, the workers. You cannot govern without the consent of the workers, as they dictate everything. This man, this is what happens when you get an education in North Korea. Oh, man, this guy knows what's up. This is one of my favorite interviews involving this subject. This is just incredible. Anyways, our next video is called Free Housing in North Korea from University Professors in Pyongyang to Peasants on the Countryside. As you all know, I actually delayed this very video because there were no captions available for this video, so I wanted to give some special shoutouts to ACLEF from Discord for translating the video, along with that translated this video as well. If I missed your transcription for some reason, I really apologize, and I'll give you a special shout out in my next video and Twitter.
进行了探访。8月9号，记者来到金日成综合大学副教授金宇璇的家中。主人家非常热情，因为是工作日，家中只有主妇和88岁的老奶奶。客厅的正上方挂有朝鲜前领导人金日成、金正日的画像。厅内的装修颇为讲究，家具家电齐全，有沙发、电视机、音响、组合柜，角落里还放着一架钢琴，用白色的绣花罩布遮盖着。平壤近期天气炎热，主人家打开了空调，室内非常凉爽。
Now, unfortunately, I do not have any timestamps for these translations, but one of the most interesting statements made is as follows. Recently, Pyongyang's weather is very hot. The owner opened up the air conditioner. It's very cool in the room. The wife was very proud introducing the apartment to the reporter. In this house, there lives 4 people, his wife, his mother, and their recently married daughter. The house is 240 square meters, 5 rooms and a living room, including 3 beds, 1 book room, and 1 cloakroom. This is a huge apartment, and I know what everybody is thinking. This is just a privileged group of people that just have power. They're part of the elites and whatnot, so they have such special treatment. Others outside the capital and the countryside have it worse, right? Well...
平壤近郊为市民供给蔬菜的长全蔬菜专业合作农场里排列着成片整齐的小楼。陪同的朝方人士表示，这些都是当地农民的住宅。记者来到其中的一个小区，这里坐落着一栋栋蓝色屋顶的瓦房，房顶上安放着太阳能热水器，房前屋后种植有蔬菜，地上摆着收获的玉米。
Here's a translation. At Pyongyang's suburbs, the Changkwon Vegetable Professional Cooperation Farm that provides vegetables for the citizens line up a bunch of tiny, small buildings. Our DPRK companion said these are all the houses of the local farmers. The reporter came to one of the compounds. Here are a set of houses with blue ceilings. On top of the roof, there sits a solar energy water heater. In front of the rear of the houses, there are plantations of vegetables. On the floor, there are grain corns. After the labor at the end of the day, when you come home, you can get a hot water bath. He says he does not envy the city people at all. So we see clearly that these privileges don't just apply to party elites, but all stratuses of people in the DPRK. It's important to note also that this newscast states that all the furniture, household electricity appliances, the solar energy water heater are all provided by the country, all free of charge. And free furnished housing isn't the only thing they have. They pay no taxes, free healthcare, education, and other perks as well. I would also like to add my personal story. When I was abroad in Asia, I actually went to a North Korean restaurant called Pyongyang, which was actually ran by the DPRK government. And I must say, contrary to a lot of Western critics, their service was incredible and on point, and their food was absolutely delicious. I had a ton of slices of beef as well, which reminded me of like a Korean barbecue, for example, with whole cloves of garlic, kimchi, and other things. I would have loved to have some DPRK soju as well, but it was kind of early in the day, but I 100% regret it. By the way, if anybody's interested that I do a food review on these restaurants, let me know and I will add it to our itinerary when we are in China or in Vietnam. They have restaurants in both locations. Alright, moving on. Our last video is titled, She and His Wife Attend Large Group Calisthenics and Art Performances in the DPRK. Wow. Jeez. Now this is just absolutely just a beautiful display of their alliances between China and the DPRK. First off, their performances are absolutely stunning and awesome. Thousands of people coordinating their every single movement that upholds their traditions and values. By the way, there's a absolutely hilarious video on North Koreans reacting to live K-pop performances, and they just look astounded or not even interested at all. I mean, as hilarious as this is, you really have to wonder why they have a stoic reaction. And I wholeheartedly think that it's more in line with the fact that these performances, like K-pop, is a reflection of the degradation entertainment has in a capitalist society and how needlessly misogynistic, extravagant, and exploitative these kinds of performances are. There is a great video that actually speaks about the K-pop industry and how extremely exploitative it is for the singers to have their lives sold through incredibly life-controlling contracts, from not being able to text people to not even having a boyfriend or anything like that in these contracts. It's a very oppressive system that they have there for K-pop, and one of the reasons why I don't really support the music genre. To compare, there's a bunch of speeches that speak about the status of women in South Korea from the North, and how exploitative the capitalist system is towards them, as the DPRK proudly upholds women's rights and celebrates their statuses constantly.
In Korea, respecting the personality of women has become a social ethos and virtue, and all their rights are realized by many laws, including the Socialist Constitution, the Law on Women's Rights, and the Socialist Labor Law, and by the state and social policies for women. In Korea, the women's equal right and political right are thoroughly ensured by law thanks to the Law on Sex Equality, promulgated by the great leader Kim Il-sung more than 70 years ago.
With that said, let's jump back into the Chinese alliance with the DPRK. Both of these countries have a rich and deep history, as China has been a critical component in their stability, and China contributed so many of their supplies and soldiers to fight alongside them during the Korean War, and is currently their largest export and import partner, despite the number of international sanctions on North Korea. For all you that support the DPRK and not China, let me show you this clip and we can try to end it here.
邓小平曾任中国共产党中央委员会副主席。
That is Kim Il-sung hugging with open arms Deng Xiaoping. It really does warm the heart when you see how far these two countries have gone together and keep their alliances alive, from Mao to Deng Xiaoping to Xi Jinping. And it's incredibly important to see how their alliances and how China really does help the DPRK remain stable, as the DPRK really tries to be independent and fight on their own as well. Both countries really need to be respected in following their own path towards socialism and communism. Anyways, comrades, thank you so much for watching tonight. I want to say that my spirit is rallied with the North Korean people at this time as they mobilize to repair their country from a devastating typhoon. And recently, Kim Jong-un issued a proclamation to rally all the party members to help in the repair efforts, and they've been doing such a fantastic job that it's astounding that we aren't able to do that. I wanted to see if there was any organization receiving aid to help out with these efforts, and I couldn't really find anything. However, I did find the Korean Friendship Association, that is an organization with the purpose of building international ties in the fields of culture, friendship, diplomacy, and business between the DPRK and other nations around the world. If you're interested in supporting this organization, I put a link down in the description below for everybody to learn more. Thanks for joining, comrades, and solidarity.